On February 1, 2025, President Trump announced sweeping new tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China. These tariffs, set at 25% for Mexico and Canada, and 10% for China, sent shockwaves through the global economy. The move marks a significant escalation in trade tensions between the U.S. and some of its closest trading partners. The tariffs, set to take effect on February 4th, target a wide range of goods. Canadian energy products face a reduced tariff rate of 10%. The president's decision has drawn sharp criticism from businesses and economists alike. Many warn of a potential trade war, which could destabilize global markets and harm businesses and consumers on all sides. The tariffs have also raised concerns about rising inflation, as businesses pass on increased costs to consumers. The timing of the tariffs is particularly noteworthy, coming at a time of heightened global uncertainty. With the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and rising inflation worldwide, the tariffs threaten to further disrupt global trade and economic stability. The impact of these tariffs is likely to be felt far beyond the borders of the countries directly involved. The Trump administration cites a national emergency as the justification for the tariffs. President Trump, in his announcement, pointed to the ongoing fentanyl crisis and illegal immigration as key threats to national security. He argues that these tariffs are necessary to pressure Mexico and Canada into taking more aggressive action to curb these issues. However, critics argue that the president is using national security concerns as a pretext for protectionist trade policies. They point to his long-standing skepticism of free trade agreements and his history of imposing tariffs as evidence. Many see this as a tactic to appease his base and solidify his position ahead of the upcoming election. The invocation of national security concerns to justify trade barriers has raised eyebrows internationally. Critics argue that it undermines the rules-based trading system and sets a dangerous precedent for other countries to follow. The lack of clear benchmarks for the removal of these tariffs further fuels skepticism about the administration's true motives. The response from Canada, Mexico, and China has been swift and decisive. All three countries have condemned the tariffs and announced retaliatory measures. Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau announced retaliatory tariffs on $155 billion worth of U.S. goods, while Mexico's President Sheinbaum promised a measured response, including tariffs and other measures. China, already embroiled in a trade war with the U.S., vowed to file a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization and implement countermeasures. The unified front presented by Canada, Mexico, and China underscores the widespread condemnation of the Trump administration's actions. These retaliatory tariffs are carefully targeted to inflict maximum political and economic damage, signaling a willingness to engage in a protracted trade war. This united response could embolden other countries to challenge U.S. trade practices, further isolating the country on the global stage. The strong rhetoric from these key U.S. trading partners suggests that they are prepared to weather a trade conflict to protect their own interests. The potential for this situation to escalate into a full-blown trade war poses a significant threat to the global economy. The interconnected nature of global trade means that the impacts of this dispute will likely be felt far beyond the borders of the countries directly involved. Economic fallout: the looming threat of a global trade war. Economists warned that the tariffs could have significant economic repercussions, both domestically and globally. The tariffs threaten to disrupt supply chains, increase prices for consumers, and stifle economic growth. The International Monetary Fund has already downgraded its global growth forecast in light of the escalating trade tensions. Businesses on all sides are bracing for the impact of the tariffs. The tariffs are likely to disrupt supply chains, forcing businesses to find new suppliers or absorb increased costs. This could lead to job losses, particularly in sectors heavily reliant on imports from the targeted countries. The uncertainty created by the tariffs could also make businesses hesitant to invest and expand, further hampering economic growth. The tariffs have also heightened concerns about a global trade war. If other countries retaliate with their own tariffs, it could trigger a downward spiral of protectionist measures that harm the global economy. The potential for a trade war is a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of the global economy and the importance of international cooperation. While the economic implications of a global trade war are daunting, it's crucial to remember the human impact that often gets overlooked. Beyond the numbers and statistics, real people are affected in profound ways. Families dependent on manufacturing jobs may face layoffs as factories struggle with increased costs. Small business owners who rely on imported goods to stock their shelves could see their profit margins shrink or even vanish, threatening their livelihoods. Farmers, already facing tight margins, may find their overseas markets closing off, leading to unsold crops and financial distress. In communities where industries are hit hardest, the ripple effects can be devastating. Local economies may suffer, leading to reduced public services, school closures, and a general decline in quality of life. The stress and uncertainty can take a toll on mental health, straining relationships and community bonds. These are not just abstract concepts, they are stories of resilience, struggle, and often heartbreak. As we navigate these turbulent times, it's vital to consider the broader human context and strive for solutions that prioritize not just economic stability, but also the well-being of individuals and communities around the world.